Hi there, this is Ron Myers from the consulting room, and I'm really grateful to Marea Brennan-Thorns for taking some time out of her busy schedule today to talk to me about her initial experience since opening her clinic after lockdown. So, Marea, welcome. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm in glowing health, and I think because we've been isolated from so many people, I'm now ultra vigilant on washing my hands to the nth degree. But yeah, look at me, I'm glowing. I've got the hydrofacial glow anyway.
Well, I was going to say you look fantastic. So, and for those of you, by the way, who don't know Marea, Marea is an independent nurse prescriber. She's got a master's degree. She's specialised in aesthetics for well over 20 years now, and she runs 3 clinics that span from Oxfordshire to Hertfordshire. Maria's also got many strings to her bow, which includes training in aesthetics alongside a long history, and I love this as well, of aesthetic nurse activism, and that's the word as well with Marea. Activism, and she's represented nurses on various committees, and she's been invited to participate in, and again, numerous mixed disciplinary conferences as well. I've known Marea for many years, and she's without doubt, I think, one of the most entrepreneurial nurses that I've met in this industry. And also what I love about Marea, she's also willing always to give up her time and share her knowledge when she can. So thanks, Marea. And I know that we've been exchanging the emails over the last sort of few weeks as well over a number of different matters. And the first thing I really wanted to ask was really in relation to the aesthetic sector, which, you know, has been going through a particularly difficult time, I think, over the last sort of couple of months with regards to looking at the government restrictions, which are still in place as well for certain aspects of treatments that we can or can't do. But could you explain really the impact that this has had on Qutis clinics since opening again?
Yes, well, I like to think that we're operating in a new temporary, because that's what my optimistic nature would have me do rather than say the new normal. But yes, we have, obviously we risk assessed the whole clinics, we risk assessed each treatment and each procedure, such as meet and greet, walk through, cleaning policies, all of those things. But I think what's occurred in our first month is that we have treated a month's worth of normal patients in 11 days. Right. And that was down to backlog. Now I realise there's always tomorrow to book somebody in that's desperately waiting for their my patients were telling me, didn't I realise there was a wrinkle pandemic out there going on, and, you know, I should be there to help. But that joking aside, we pulled out all stops. We haven't opened 7 days, but we put in extra hours, and there's been an awful lot of backlog. So the biggest impact to me as an individual was extra working and backlog. Yeah. We are seeing and triaging all of our patients via Zoom, and I like that. I like the fact that the new patients, or the patients that haven't been seen for a while, get to see the business owner, the practice owner, and then I can really set out where we are, what our qualifications are, and if you like, make sure that they feel safe in our hands. And I'm a big believer in, repeating this mantra, safe in the hands of nurses, because our medical discipline is about care, nursing care. And, many people want to feel that they're not just dealt with as a patient that is there to have a treatment plan and then a cure, but also a treatment plan with a care plan. And this is what I'm able to do virtually. There have been issues, I think, with the stop-start. Were we opening on 4th of July? Were we not? I think that then poses the question of how confident are you in this respect, me as the business owner and as a nurse professional, that you operate a medical model. And as you say, we've known each other a long time, and you quip about me calling myself an activist, but in the very beginning when I got into aesthetics, I was out there defending my right to work as a nursing professional. Yeah. And unfortunately in those days, it was really convincing doctors that we nurses could work independently and safely within the confines of a narrow specialty. Now that came to pass legally when non-medical prescribing, which included nursing prescribing, came into being in the early part of the 2000s. So that followed well. Having always felt confident about the medical model and the nursing model, I never saw myself as a beauty nurse or as somebody who had sort of slightly gone down the track of just aesthetics. We are labelled as medical aesthetics, but definitely from a point of view of healthcare messaging, and everybody who is seen in our practice with a consultation, they will have a primary concern, a secondary concern, and then any other healthcare messages, because we ask about diet, we ask about hydration, we ask about social habits like smoking, exercise and drinking. And all of those things. You know, I've been consulting all morning, and there's been a lot of people that are now wanting to lose weight. Now, we don't offer any weight loss treatment modalities within our practice. We offer things like cool sculpting. It's not exactly weight loss, but I am watching the sector, because definitely people who have been a little bit heavier need to lose weight. So, you know, I've got my book at the side and saying, take a read of this. If you want some help with losing weight for your health, we're giving that sort of message as well. And I think we've exchanged a few emails and communications during the time of lockdown, whereby it seemed very wrong to go on Instagram and to try to talk about treatment sales or before and afters. So I very much was of the opinion that we should be talking about health messaging, how to bring your shopping in, what to do with the Amazon delivery. Do you clean your keypad if you've got a keypad on a gate before you come in? All of those sorts of things. So we gave those sorts of messages, and you know, they were taken up in the industry. Cool Sculpting took one of our messages up, and Is Clinical took our messages up, and it was, I think, a worthwhile thing to do.
Fantastic. No, I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I think that I think you're right as well. I think there are too many, especially new people that are coming into this with a medical qualification, who have lost sight, if you see what I mean, of the medical component of this, and just look at this as just, you know, I need that medical qualification to get into this beauty industry, rather than kind of the other way around.
They see it as a cash cow. Do you remember that old terminology?
Yes, I do. I do. And what I think is fascinating as well, just kind of going back to something you mentioned earlier, is that you are now almost seen to be and are interfacing with everyone as the figurehead of the business, which I think is a big change from pre-lockdown, isn't it?
Yes, and you know, I think I was scratching my head on how to be more effective, and I think this has forced an effective way of working. I mean, obviously, you familiarise yourself with virtual appointments. Not everybody does Zoom, so you do FaceTime or WhatsApp. You know, we have an online form, and all of those things have stopped me being a data collector, thank God. So now I've got the data, I can just do what I'm, you know, trained to do, which is to diagnose and create a treatment plan and advise.
Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant. So what also do you feel has been the initial response, both from staff who've come back into the business who may have been furloughed, and also patients as well, their kind of initial reactions and responses? And how has that changed?
Yeah, the staff were chomping at the bit, and I could almost see a change in them when we were meeting weekly for our hourly Zoom staff meetings. They were just chats that we met for at first, and as we got nearer towards lockdown easing, we did training. But I just could see people, sometimes people on their Zooms, they were, you know, sitting up in bed or, you know, laying down on a, you know, on a couch or whatever. It's amazing just how this has affected people. One of the nurses, though, always sat in her garden, and she's got a palm tree in her garden. So we always thought that maybe she wasn't on furlough, she was somewhere like Barbados. But it was, you know, it was everybody's way of portraying themselves. Me in my art studio, you know, because this is where I work from when I'm at home, but the staff were keen to get back. When I trained them on the new advanced hygiene practices and the new ways of working, I think there was a little bit of like, whoa. And of course, there are different personality traits. Whenever we recruit, by the way, Ron, we always do the Jordan Peterson Know Yourself personality traits questionnaire.
Okay.
And of course, people are more cautious than others. Some people are very open, some people are quite closed, and some people see everything as a thing to worry about. So I did feel like there was quite a bit of nursing care for my team, but they were on the whole very keen to get back to normality. I think there was in the lockdown, there was like, oh dear, what the hell's happening? Everywhere looks like, you know, it's a bomb's dropped outside, to the I now want to see people, to the, you know, the weather then got a little bit worse during lockdown, and that really helped people want to come back to work when the weather failed a bit.
Yeah.
And so you know, that's the staff. The patients, they were texting me, and it was very nice to hear from them, and I was quite interested to see how many men texted me saying, is there anything, I can't get Botox, what can you suggest? So we did an awful lot of skincare management, which was good because it kept my hand in. It oiled the wheels, kept going with that. Golly, we won top affiliate for skincare sales with Is Clinical. I don't know how we managed that, but you know,
wow.
we had a portal open to Is Clinical, and they did all of our packaging, receiving of order, and basically all I did was consult. So we won an award for that. So we were able to, we were given £400 of skin products to give to a deserving person.
Oh, lovely.
And we gave that to our nurse, Paula Shurrock, because she lives 3 doors away from a Qutis dermal filler and Botox patient who was diagnosed with a fast spreading brain tumor just before lockdown. And Paula nursed her. So I think this is a unique story. You know, a nurse in medical aesthetics performed nursing care of end of life, and our patient died during lockdown, and Paula was on hand to help the Marie Curie nurses with nighttime care and all of that sort of thing. So we made a big thing just before we opened, and we presented in secret, you know, she didn't know, to Paula, and she got this big, you know, award so nicely supported by Is Clinical. And that's a nice story for the patients who were you know, waiting to come back. You know, they were commenting on Instagram about this sort of story, and I'm very proud of Paula Shurrock. I think she showed us a whole thing or two about you know, don't moan, just help and be kind.
Well, that's right, and I think you're right. I think you probably found that as well. There are people that just kind of gone all out with empathy and care and help with whatever they can do, and other people have just moaned about the fact they don't be able to go down the pub for a pint or something like that. It's like it's been really interesting to see how different people have reacted. But so in general, then, really positive response from both staff and patients, which is fantastic. So. I know you did mention earlier on as well that I know that someone like yourself would have meticulously prepared before reopening, but you said you've made some changes to some of the things that you felt that you were going to do in terms of policies or procedures. Could you explain what those are?
Well, thanks for the tip. We did, I've forgotten her name, Joy. She called Jenny.
Oh, yes, Jenny, yes.
We all did a day training on an international infection control, and that was very good. And what that really taught us more than anything was get it written down, And, you know, we're great ones, Steve and I, for spreadsheets. Not everybody likes a spreadsheet, but we love a spreadsheet. And at least you've got all the editing history, when you first put that, when you changed it to make it more important. But the main things were, we risk assessed the building on a walkthrough. Mm-hmm. Then we risk assessed every treatment on a treatment roll through, you know, so all the treatments were performed from 16th of June to 4th of July, in-house, closed, so that we could spot anything. So of course many things were removed from the clinic in terms of clutter, in terms of advertising, in terms of things that we didn't think should be washed anymore. So the consumables bill has gone up, but some of the treatments we decided not to do until COVID was less in the community or there was a vaccine available. Certainly, because I employ advanced skin and laser therapists, I reviewed all the patients coming back in, whether they were known to us or not known to us, on a case-by-case basis. So everybody who came through was checked by a nurse, that being me, to see if there was a medical or psychosocial need. We're still doing that, and we will be doing that going forward. It's tiny bit heavy, but at the same time it feels good. The patients like it, the staff like it, and I think setting out on the nurse treatment plan that can still be adjusted as time goes on is a very good thing. Is that sort of what you meant, Ron?
Yeah, really. I mean, I think obviously with this, I think everyone is still learning as they go forward, and you know, it's okay anticipating this and putting systems in place. But as you and I know, unless you really audit those to see whether or not they are working as effective as they could be, then you know.
We've audited already. The first audit date was 6th of August, but I couldn't wait that long. And I'm not in charge of auditing. I've actually given that to 3 people other than me. So I wrote the policies, and they are in charge of health and safety and COVID auditing. Yeah. But, you know, we had things like the refusal of one person not to bring a bag in. And, you know, the refusal to, you know, they want to bring in a big handful of keys, several devices, and wet wipes and sanitizing and whatever. So we didn't think that somebody would be non-compliant. So that's gone on the audit. So as a result of auditing early, so this is a result of auditing 250 patients in 11 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you know, we've got like a plastic box, you know, so they can put stuff in a white see-through bag, transparent see-through bag. I know some people had the foresight to do that already, but we thought people would be compliant. They're not all compliant. Things like doing this on our, you know, they're about to pay. We try to take prepayment now, which I think is helpful for business. But if for some reason or not, they don't want to pay until they're in the clinic. You know, one person, you know, took her sunglasses off and put them right by the card machine. And, you know, I think they ought to watch Contagion. That might be the easiest thing for them to know about cross-infection. You know, you can't put something that's been on your face down somewhere else that somewhere else is going to work. So that's a bit uncomfortable to do something like to the patient, I'm sorry, I've got to clean this immediately. Will you put your glasses back on? Somebody questioned me on this, not a patient, but a team member. Like, could you not just do it when they've gone? And I remember during my training, it was about talking about being candid. In healthcare, you need to be candid. Please don't put your glasses down there because we now have to clean it. Please don't come with makeup on because we have to watch out for aerosols when you're washing your face in the bathroom, then wash the bathroom or sanitize the bathroom, then come in for treatment. So my feeling is that healthcare professionals are pretty good at being candid. health care assistants and people who are allied to us are less good at being candid.
Yeah.
And that's all down to training, and we can train and qualification. You need to sort of like say, does it hurt as a nurse, or tell me where it hurts, or not really, I'm sorry I've hurt you. Yeah. Or this is going to hurt. I think that's the book title, isn't it?
That's
but,
it.
we're used to being candid. So what else did we have? We had people touching their mouth like this, and then putting their hands on the desk. And it's just, I think I mentioned to you in my email to you that I'd like to be able to teach in a nurse way, particularly the ones who trust and know me, to say, now we're going to wash our hands again, or now we're going to sanitize our hands again. And the other thing that's been a bit difficult for nervous people is not being able to bring anybody in. But I've had to stick to that. Yes. Well, one, because it's there for a reason. And, we just talked about being candid. It's there to prevent extra risk of infection. Mm-hmm. But of course, it's difficult for the anxious patients, because they might want their mum, their husband, their boyfriend in. Yeah. And if I set an example of allowing one in every now and again, then my team won't follow me in the way that I want them to follow me. The way that I want them to follow me is cross-infection management control. Cross-infection control is you don't break the rules. Yeah. You absolutely don't break the rules. And we talked about masks earlier on in the week. I think I told you I've worn a mask since getting home from Colombia. I was in Colombia at the beginning of lockdown on holiday. So I spent the first part of lockdown in Colombia. So when I got back, as soon as I got back, I immediately started to wear a mask to go shopping. I didn't do much shopping. As soon as I could get online, I did a lot of that. I was out on my own doing my exercise, and also I feel that wearing a mask is an outward sign to others. Remember, we're in a pandemic. It's also an outward sign to you. Oops, don't touch your face. There's a mask there. It's a physical barrier. And I think when patients come in, as a nurse activist, as a bossy old cow, I'd like to be able to sort of like say, get your masks now. It's only a surgical mask, but get your masks fitting nicely now. Bend the wire around your nose, put your glasses on over the top of it, and spread it to under your chin. That's it. No need to touch now. Yeah. And we're sitting from our patients at 2 meters social distance, and only approach them when we've got full PPE on. Yeah. Full PPE. It's a plastic apron, it's gloves, it's a mask, and it's a visor. Okay, fine.
Joe, I think it's a really important point, because I think obviously the government's really dithered over this in terms of looking at the masks, and you've had also in America as well, where I think, again, they've just done a U-turn, and where Donald Trump has just actually said, oh, maybe we should be wearing masks now, whatever. But I think there is a really important role there when you're looking at educating patients, when obviously you're coming from a medical perspective and really understanding how viruses are transmitted and how you actually reduce the risk of transmission and the importance of some of these simple measures. So I kind of like what you did, what you said you did during lockdown, around focusing on educating people around things like that to reduce and minimize transmission of virus, rather than just, kind of going out and going, oh, we've, come and get your Botox after lockdown or something, which a lot of people are doing.
I think it's also evidences, sorry to blow my own trumpet, but it evidences how interested you are in community health or public health. We aren't just a Botox and filler practice. We are a nursing care and health practice, nursing-led practice, and I'm interested in all aspects of health. And when the patient comes, it's not just about filling a face. It is about helping them to lose weight. It is about helping them to understand the importance of their gut microbiome. If they've been on antibiotics for acne for years or whatever, it's all about those additional things.
Yeah. And you know what, long term, I think that's, the more that people like yourselves really focus on that and differentiate yourself from all the other people that in theory can do pretty much everything that you're doing within your clinic, with toxins and fillers and, you know, fat freezing and all these other things, not obviously with the same sorts of devices. But I think then people will start to understand that different if they're getting those different ancillary messages, especially in the consultation process as well, which I think is really smart, because I think people miss that, don't they?
They do. I mean, I write down 3, maybe 4 health messages. So I write everything that they presented with, diagnosis and treatment plan, and then health messages. And usually this would be something like boost the immune system, lose a bit of weight, and you know, use a science-backed skincare or regime or something like that, you know, or even practice mindfulness. Because we have a lot of people more than ever that are very anxious.
Yes, I'm absolutely sure. Yeah, I mean, and you're right, that's all part of the overall health and wellness, isn't it? Aspect of being, you know, hopefully a healthy, well-rounded human being. And you're right, I think those kind of medical messages are not easy to access on the NHS anymore, even if they were actually ever.
Yeah, I mean, I look back to more public broadcasting, BBC for want of a better word, when, you know, in the AIDS pandemic, you know, we had John Hurts and the gravestone of RIP.
Yes, I remember it well.
Yeah, and now, you know, a lot of our patients won't remember that. They're of a different age group, but, you know, and also they're not watching public broadcasting. So I do think there's a role for good social media messaging around care. I mean, I said when I was in Colombia, when all my friends were saying, "Are you safe? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm rafting down a gorge at the moment. What's going on in the world?" You know, I said what we need is a calm world leader. I'm not sure that anybody's emerged yet, you know, Dalai Lama or someone like that, the Pope, I don't know, somebody calm. But it's the same in healthcare leadership. I know that we you know, we had, you know, the wonderful people that came on the daily bulletins, etc. And also I know that people are cynical about the science being slow or flawed, or you know, even Imperial College getting the modelling wrong, and, you know, taking data out of China rather than data out of Italy in order to get us into lockdown earlier, and all of those things that, with the benefit of the hindsight spectroscope or whatever it's called, we could all sit there smugly. But I am a creative thinker, and I am to be giggled at. I know people giggle at me all at work, but I just love something like a public health warden or of a similar vein to be walking around our towns and, you know, chatting to the young people, a bit like the old Bobby on the Beat, but that doesn't exist anymore. But or the nurse that used to have her cape on and her leather bag to say, you know, "Hello there, do you all come from the same family? Oh no, do you have grandparents and parents that, you know, might be shielded? It's best that maybe you remember to sit away. Hey guys, I know it's hard to forget, hard to remember, but, you know, just social distance a bit and remember about your granny and grandpa maybe catching this virus if we're not careful." It needs something like that. I don't know who's going to do it.
Well, but I think maybe, you know, there are, well, thousands of nurse-led private aesthetic clinics up and down the country. You know, maybe if they did take on part of that role from an education point of view, in terms of when they're talking to people, and all, you know, just the messages that you're getting out on social media that would differentiate you from other providers anyway of aesthetic treatments and elevate you. Maybe, you know, maybe that is something that people could do. I mean, you know, irrespective of COVID as well, of course, this has been the odd thing really with all of this. When you're looking at, you know, respiratory infections are always there, you know, whether it's cold and you have a nasty cold, it's not very nice. Flu kills anywhere between 17 and 28,000 people every year. Same categories as well, generally older people and people who have, you know, pre-existing conditions, you know, lung problems or whatever. So it's been there for a long while, and that's even with a vaccine, of course, as well. So I think reinforcing those messages is not a bad idea, and you know, this could be a catalyst for that.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, we've already sent a member of staff off she turned up with a sore throat and then gradually felt a bit worse during the next few hours. We sent her home and we got her straight in and got her a swab. And we'll wait now before she can come back to work. And for the swab to be clear, she's a bit annoyed, but what else are we to do? That's what we're to do.
Well, yeah. Absolutely, and it makes absolutely perfect sense, because you wouldn't want not to do that and then run the risk of any.
Yeah. And I think, hey, the anti-vaxxers are out in Oxford, Ron. This, when I grow old, I shall wear purple. I'm going to add, and shout in Speaker's Corner at the anti-vaxxers, because this is what this old nurse did. So I was out in Oxford at the weekend, and the anti-vaxxers were out in our equivalent of Speaker's Corner. It's called Bond Square. And they're telling us about the removal of their civil liberties by the possibility of having to be vaccinated. Guess who shouted back at them? From the shopping crowd? Me. I heard this person speak and shout, "Are you a scientist?" Stuff and nonsense. It was me. I am an activist, even in my old age. I'm an activist. Yeah. Well,
that's wonderful, and I hope you remain so, Mary. I really do. So look, I really appreciate your time, and I know that. And thank you, because I know you kind of squeezed me in between undoubtedly a whole load of online consultations today. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I just wish you and Steve, the best of luck over the coming months.
Thank you. And I understand that you met our business coach, Robin Waite.
Oh, Robin, he's fantastic.
He's our business coach.
I did not know that. No, he's a lovely fellow.
Yeah. Now, just before you go and say goodbye, I think one of the reasons why we're successful is this willingness to embrace new things. Robin's been our business coach for about 3 years.
Okay.
Every time I see him, it's the same as seeing my personal gym coach. I always hurt and ache a bit and go away thinking about a lot.
But that's it. And I think it's having the openness and almost humility to know and go, look, I don't know all of this stuff. And I don't as well. I like you, I pay for continued education, continued insight from other people that are going to help unlock my mind. I think that's it, isn't it? It's unlocking your mind to things that you can't see.
I know.
And that's the skill of a good coach, I think. Yeah.
I thought you'd like to know that.
No, that's wonderful. I really like Robin, and he lives just up the road from me as well.
No, do you live near each other? You can have some. What is it like? He likes Craft Ale or something.
Well, he's also a surfer as well, and so they opened the Wave up in Bristol, so he goes down there regularly. So I've been there, so we might meet there. You never know.
I heard. Brilliant.
Lovely. Well, thank you, Marea, and as I say, give my best to Steve as well. And hopefully I'll see you again at some meeting at some point in the future, whatever they're going to be.
So otherwise we'll have to keep on dating via Zoom.
I know. All right. Thank you very much anyway.
All right.
Cheers. Bye.